So I made a little joke slash jab, but respectfully, about where you grew up in Coney Island and how
Yeah,
it's not necessarily thought of as a birthplace of rap in a lot
yeah,
of ways. And I think that's, I'm being light about it, but I also think it's important because there's a lot of um credibility and like representation of like I'm real here. That I
yeah.
don't know if like where you know where you were coming, or were you the only you? And I wonder about that and what that was like.
In Coney Island, um, well, Coney Island was always kind of more known for like basketball players. I mean, Stephon Marbury and Lance Stevenson, Sebastian Telfair, they all came out of Coney Island, and then obviously the rides, whatever. Hip hop, I feel like there was never anybody to really reach a certain level of mainstream success. But someone I really looked up to growing up from Coney Island was Nems, the rapper Nems. He's from Coney Island, and when I got my start, I kind of went to go rap for him. And he showed me a lot of love, and now he's doing his thing. And I feel like he's probably going to be the first rapper from Coney Island to ever reach mainstream success. But I mean, I wasn't the only person from Coney Island rapping. There's a lot of people from Coney Island that are rappers. There's a lot of people here doing their thing at higher levels, my level, levels higher than me, or levels lower than me. But at the end of the day, I think that it's a place that's not very well represented in hip hop, and I've always made it an objective for myself to kind of like try and put Coney Island on the map, hip hop wise.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. And I think
Yeah,
it's kind of cool to be able
yeah.
to push through that. Did you feel like you had a lot of support in that early time from like your family and peers, and how did that go?
My family has always been very supportive. I can't ever really remember a time where I didn't have the support of my parents, my mom, my dad, my family. I mean, if anybody has ever met me, like they've probably, especially in the early years, they probably saw me with my dad. You know what I mean? Always showing love, always supporting. But as far as my peers and the people that I went to school with or that I knew, it was not support at all. I mean, I went through so many different things of just like starting from the fact that when you want to do something different and think outside the box, all the people who don't have the ability to do that are going to try and bring you back down to what they feel like is reality. So it started from a place of that. And then as I continued to push through it and didn't conform, because I've always kind of been a leader and never a follower. I've always gone to the beat of my own drum. I've always done what I wanted to do. I never did anything to be cool. I never did anything to fit in. I was always doing things because I wanted to do them. And people didn't like me for that to begin with. If you tackle on, like, I had very bad ADHD, hyperactivity was out of control. So it was hard for people to kind of connect with me because a lot of them felt like I was overbearing and annoying, and I didn't know how to control it in my early years. So if you take those two things and then now you topple on this rap thing where everybody's like, oh, you're not going to make it, you're not going to do it, whether they felt like I was good or not in their own personal opinion, it kind of always was just I was swimming through a sea of doubt and a sea of hate from everybody. I mean, the cool kids, the kids that weren't so cool, the girls, the boys, the athletes. This, like, my entire time in middle school when I was starting off rapping was me kind of sitting alone at a table writing my rhymes in a notebook or on my phone, practicing, and everybody saying he's not going to do it. So that was like I had it good at home, but I didn't have it good anywhere else from people my age at all.
Yeah, I got a little bit of that from some of what you've shared in other places, but I
Yeah,
really wanted to have you share that fully from your words, but also to kind of just reiterate
yeah,
how incredible you are that you found that strength. And it's
yeah.
great that you had loving family, and a lot of people don't have that, and we know that. But it's hard when you're in middle school. Middle school is rough. Hormones
Oh
and
yeah,
puberty, everybody and hitting it and all that. And even without any of that, right? And
yeah,
so what you just said is no small thing. And to the core of who you become and how you see yourself in the world. And then the ADHD is like another layer. Like you said, I'm too much. I get it. I'm
Mm,
the extra.
yeah,
I understand. And it took years. And when I was younger, I mean, we didn't even have those labels to know what that was. They'd be
yeah,
we
yeah,
need
yeah.
more outlets, and sports sometimes is a way to like channel the energy, right? Or things like that. And so for you, this was your passion and you saw it, hooked into it, and kept on it so young. I honestly, I was so incredibly moved by that. That's why I was like, Ryan, I can't wait to meet this person. Um,
Thank you.
because that's very unusual and that's I mean, I don't want to say inspiring because I wish I had a better word, but that's what's coming out. Inspiring for other people to go through because I think they see now, right? They'll see, oh my gosh, look at him at VCon. Look at him with, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and then be like, yeah, this guy, maybe dating wasn't so easy, even though you're a handsome young person. Even
Thank you.
like that, it wasn't
Yeah.
a smooth ride. And I don't mean it just in like the
No,
level
it definitely
of
wasn't. Yeah.
success or not. It's literally acceptance of your peers when you go in,
Hmm.
of your teachers, coaches, whatever you were involved with, and then having to have that not get into yourself,
Yeah.
which later in life you talk about, like through COVID and other times, which we'll get to, where maybe some of that did creep in a little bit because you have to be Teflon, but you're just a kid.
Yeah. 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 It was crazy. That like looking back, that's the only word that comes to mind. Cause I don't know how I like did it. I'm so far away from that world now because of all these blessings that have come to me from my music that I don't even know like what it feels like at this point in my life to be in that position. I don't know how I got through it. It really it especially since I was so young with everything that I was dealing with. I am always amazed that I was able to push through. And there were many moments where I broke down, and I thank God that I have my dad and my family to always kind of, tell me that, you're going to be fine. But I always did better with adults than I did with kids. I felt like if I was in a room full of adults, I could talk to them and have a good conversation with them way longer than I could with people my age because we just kind of didn't relate. Everybody always told me I was an old soul,
I was about
and
to say
yeah,
that because
yeah,
that makes you grounded, but that's also scary for other people.
yeah,
You said because that's weird, or they don't get it, or they just want to
yeah,
throw rocks at the cars under the overpass, or whatever it is that young
yeah,
kids want to do, right? And you didn't want to do
yeah.
that stuff. So then they
No,
don't want to feel bad about themselves. That's what a lot
hmm,
of it is, right? Deflection.
yeah,
So then
it
they
is.
make fun of you, or they say you're something wrong, and you're just an island of one.
You're 100% right. And it was a weird shift to like, there was a defining day in my life. Like, I talk about this a lot too, but it was like the last week of middle school when we were graduating and everything. And like, Michael Rappaport had posted my rap on his page. And this is before Instagram changed their algorithm. So he had 1.5 million followers, whatever. All those 1.5 million people were shown that post, unlike it is today where it has to catch like a For You page or something. So it was literally 1.5 million people saw my post that day. And I started like blowing up on Instagram. I had rap legends that I had always like loved and grew up listening to DMing me and reposting it. And that was the day my life changed. And it was that shift from middle school to high school of kind of like, you know, I went from the most hated person in my middle school to first day of high school, someone taking a picture with me. And it was a weird shift, but it shifted from the like outright, everybody is doubting you, nobody wants you to succeed, to now I'm making friends with people who are friends with me for the wrong reasons,
Well, that's what I was gonna
And
ask
yeah,
about, like, so then
as
did
time
you
goes
start have
on,
to wonder
yeah.
about who's my real friend, and do they like me, or do they like that they'll look cool if they're nice to me?
Yeah, I think it was always a big thing of like, everybody knew who I was. Like, there's a bunch of different high schools in the circuit of South Brooklyn that everybody knows about. Like, you had Murrow, Midwood, Madison, Goldstein, this one, that one, and everybody kind of knew each other. Even though Brooklyn is a big place, it's actually really small because everybody knows each other and everybody knows of each other. Everything's always intertwined. So everybody knew who I was. And when I would come around to like a party or a birthday dinner, or like I was just at the right place at the right time for these people, it was like I would leave. And I've even heard stories years later of people being like, oh my God, like we just hung out with him, like we got to be friends with him, whatever. But that never really ended out well, because there's always that one person who, as the time goes on and I grow closer to a group of people, realize that when, the blinds get taken off and you see that I come from the same neighborhood as you, and we went to the same school, and I have feelings and emotions and I'm a person just like you, it kind of always drove that person to extreme amounts of jealousy. And that's why after I got finished and all done with my struggle of getting past the masses not supporting me and being cool with me, it was like every time I actually develop a close relationship with somebody, there's always that one person who has to mess it up and turn people against me or this, that, the other thing. And that's been a big struggle in my life too, I would say. Like going through so many people. It feels like every year I have a different group of friends.